All right, welcome back. It's the game on. I am Favour, Itua. All right, let's go straight, of course, to more stories this time around the world of football. It has to do with the FIFA Women's World Cup. Nigeria were knocked out by England on penalties 4-2. Of course, in the round of 16, the game ended goalless after extra time. But of course, the Super Falcons were knocked out no thanks to two penalty miss from the likes of Desire Paranozier and, of course, not forgetting Alozier, not also forgetting the English player also missed a penalty. But at the end of the day, it was the English side who pulled through to the quarterfinals. And since the defeat, there has been lots of accolades pouring on the team for their performance at the tournament. Now, joining us, of course, to discuss the team's journey is a seasoned journalist and, of course, chief football writer of ACL Sports, all the way from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Fisayo Dairo joins us this evening. Good evening to you. Welcome to Game On.
A very good evening to Favour. Thanks for having me on the show this evening.
All right, how's the weather? I'm seeing already you're putting on a super or a Nigerian football track suit. It shows that you are still patriotic. You've not left yet.
Of course, we are all proud of them. Port Harcourt is fine this day. And of course, a vast majority of Nigerians are proud of these girls, rightly so. You know, they shocked us, really. Their performance was beyond expectations. And although they lost excruciatingly on penalties, you cannot contest the fact that they gave their all.
All right, I see you're already going through the performance of today. But now let's look at the team as a whole. I mean, Super Falcons of Nigeria, they came, they saw, but they couldn't conquer. I mean, rating their performance today, how would you, look at what they've done and how would you sum their performance, today?
Well, if I'm going to take a look at it holistically, like I said, they surpassed the expectations of many football fans and football pundits. Their performance is in two phases. They were the underdogs all through the four matches they played. They were pitched in the same group as the Olympic champions, as the highly rated co-hosts. And then they get to face European champions, England, in the round of 16. It wasn't easy at all for them. But like I said, they gave a good account of themselves. Holistically, can they do better? Maybe yes. If you take a costly look at the performances of the team from the technical bench and all, yes, I think they can do better. But the height at which they attained, the round of 16 albeit, you can hardly fault them because the girls specifically, they gave their all. They were not overall 3 matches, three clean sheets out of 4 games. And then penalties is nobody's game and they bow out at that point. Maybe let's leave today as a day to celebrate them. But of course, that's depending on the questions you have for me. But I think if you take a look at it, they finished second in their group. Maybe if they had beaten Ireland, they would have avoided England and perhaps have a safe passage into the quarterfinals against Denmark. But that is what ifs and what could be. So I will leave it at that. I think they have made the nation proud. But it's a World Cup tournament. No African nation up to now has been able to win a knockout game in the World Cup, in the Women's World Cup. But it will be written in history that the Super Falcons class of 2023 took the pre-tournament's favorites, England, all down to the wire.
All right, Fisayo, I'd like to ask you, when you take your mind back to 2019, Nigeria got to the round of 16, lost to Germany 3-0. Fast forward to 4 years later, same record in terms of the time we left the tournament. Is it the fact that Nigeria took England to the extra time and penalties? That is, what is different from the last set? Because when you look at the expectations, when you look at where they've got into, same record was met in 2019.
Yeah, I think there are a little bit of different scenarios. Going to the 2019 tournament, Nigeria were the African champions. We still had our invisibility untainted in Africa. But coming into this tournament, the team finished abysmally 4th at the Women's Africa Cup of Nations last summer. And then coming into this tournament, at the time, they lost 7 games in a row, although they were able to end that ignominious run this year and won 3 games before this competition started. So they are quite different scenarios. In 2019, of course, we were also in a tough group, and then we were beaten fair and square. But this time around, statistically, we've ended the tournament unbeaten. And then we take England all the way through to penalties, I think it's a matter of performing beyond expectations. That's why I said today is the day to celebrate them. But going forward, we have to ask ourselves, what can we do to surpass this stage? Like I said earlier on, nothing stopped us from beating the Republic of Ireland. And if we had beaten Ireland, we top the group and face a lesser opposition in quotes in Denmark. So after we have celebrated the girls tonight, then we start asking questions. 4 years ago, it ended at this stage. Back in 1999, that's like 24 years ago, we came back home at this stage. So what can we do to move ahead? What can we do to go the extra mile? What can we do to stop being underdogs? We have attended every World Cup tournament since 1991, and 32 years after, we're still underdogs. When are we going to become the favorites? When are we going to become the giants, so to say? So that's the conversation opener.
Well, talking about the future, I mean, you just make mention of, what we can do or what can we do. Now, let's go straight to the angle of the coach. Now, Randy Waldrum, when he was appointed as coach of the Super Falcons, a lot of persons, called him university coach, coming to coach the team with no experience. This is his first World Cup. This is also the first time as a coach he's getting to the round of 16. Do you think with this result, he got with the Super Falcons, he has been able to silence the critics, on him, given to him before the tournament?
Well, yes, he can easily say, yes, I've silenced some of my critics. Of course, he's been subjected to huge criticism, not only from the fans, but also from the press, and also from the federation itself. But for me, if you analyze the team very well, I think the scenario that the team found itself in this tournament played into the hands of Randy Waldrum. Randy Waldrum is a coach that always wants to be an underdog. So when he took charge of the Super Falcons of Nigeria, a big team in Africa, he did not know what to do with it. He was playing as an underdog in the African continent. And that was what brought in most of the criticisms. Now we go to the World Cup, we play against the Olympic champions, he's the underdog. We play against the highly rated co-host Australia, we are the underdog. Now it was the time to beat Ireland, who had lost their first 2 matches, who were making their first appearance at the World Cup. Now we were the favorites for that game. Let us win. That was Nigeria's worst performance in this tournament. Now here comes England, the European champions, one of the tournament's favorites. What do? We played our best game of the tournament. So Randy Waldrum is a coach that loves the underdog tag. He likes to operate within the ambit of being the underdog. But we are leaving the World Cup now. World Cup is not happening until the next 4 years. We come back to the African continent when we are the giants. That's where the question comes, Colin. Will Waldrum be able to produce a performance worthy of a favorite star? Will Waldrum be able to line out his girls in a way they will take the game by the scruff of the neck and achieve emphatic results? That's left to be seen.
All right, just before I let you go, I mean, you've talked about him and what he has achieved and also what is left for him to do. If you were in the shoes of the NFF, would you allow him to stay or continue as the coach of the Super Falcons?
Wow, this is a tough question because I don't know the thought process of the NFF, but if the decision is left to me, tomorrow when they are in Abuja, I will thank Randy Waldrum for his services. You have done fantastically well. It's time to move to the next round. It's time to move to the next stage. I have learned a lot in football to know that national team football, after 3-4 years, you unravel. So for me, Randy Waldrum, you've done well. Second round of the World Cup, held England spellbound. But thank you, it's time to go.
All right. Thank you very much, Fisayo Dairo. We could talk all and on about the Super Falcons of Nigeria. But of course, there are positives to pick out from the World Cup. Really appreciate you for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much for having me once again. Keep up the good work, bro.